Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui, and today I'll be teaching you how to draft a 360, a 720 and 1440 degrees fillet. This is a topic that I really want to address because there seems to be a lot of confusion in the community about how to go about this. Now I teach people how to sew, and over time I have had some students that are not very good at math, so I had to develop a method that I can use to teach them how to draft fillets whenever they need to. Now the first thing that you must know is that when it comes to fillet, it is not about the stiffeners that you use in the fillet. It's about the cuts and about what you want to achieve. So anyway, let's get straight into the video. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, any ideas or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. Do not be scared, because you know closed mouths do not get fed. And please also share the video. Please share the video so that we'll get this solution out there for those of us that cannot calculate 2 pi r square and all the other magic that people do whenever they are cutting fillet. I'll see you soon. Welcome once again. In this video I would show you how to cut 360, 720 and 1440 degrees fillet. Now the first thing we would do is we will measure the distance around the bottom part of our bodies, and we would use this number to know how to cut the top part of our fillet. I'm going to place the tape from the beginning, and I would measure carefully from top all the way down to the bottom. So here we have 33.5. So the first type of fillet we'll cut will be the 360 degrees fillet. The first fillet I will show you to cut is how to cut 360 degrees. But before we continue, after we have gotten the distance around the half cut at 33.5, the next thing we are going to do is we're going to subtract the length of our bodies from our top length. Now we're going to measure. I'm going to measure from my shoulder. I'm going to measure from my shoulder all the way to the end of my bodies. I have 18 inches. Now my top length is 28, so I'm going to subtract this number from my top length, and with that I would know the length of the fillet. 10 inches is what we need to complete the top length. If you add 10 inches to the bodies we have already, we'll get the length of the top. Now when I want to cut my 360 degrees fillet, what I do is I take that number distance around the bottom of my bodies, divide it by 4. Now when I divided it, I got 8 inches. So I'm going to use that to carefully make a curve at the top of my fold. So I made a mark on both places. So I'm going to draw a straight line down, another line across, and I'm going to simply make an arc. This is going to be the top curve, and from that place I'm going to measure 10 inches down. The 10 inches is the length of the fillet that will complete the length of the top. So when I'm done, I'm going to connect all my dots. And we are done. This is how I cut my 360 degrees fillet. So if I was going to use this, I'll simply cut the top, cut the bottom, divide one place, divide one side of one anywhere around the fillet, and I simply have that. Now the next one is the 720 degrees fillet. Now I've seen some videos online where they do this equation to get the answer, but the easiest way I found to do it is that you simply take the distance around the half cut, we divide it by 8 instead of 4, and then we place it around exactly the way we did the 360. But the only difference is that this time I would have to cut 2 separate fillets to complete it. So meaning that the head there would be 4, then I'll cut it 2 times. and I have my 720. The next thing I'm doing is my 1440 degrees fillet. So when I want to cut my 1440 degrees fillet, what I do is I take the distance around the bodies and divide it by 16. Now I got 2. So I'm going to fold my cloth gum. Now what I'm using to cut my fillet, what I'm using as my hardener is cloth gum, in case you are wondering. So I carefully fold my fabric the exact same way I would have folded if I was cutting for my 360 and my 720. Now for this fillet that I'm cutting, I want it to have a bit of excess because I intend to pleat it. So I'm going to place 3.5 inches. But if you do not want to have any excess, you can simply use the 2 inches that we got initially. So I'm going to make a curve at the top. From that curve, I'm going to place my 10 inches, which is the top length, which will complete the top length. So now I'm going to cut it out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first one as the first part that I cut as a template, and I'm going to cut it 4 times. If this was for a 720 degrees fillet, I would cut it only 2 times. So I'm going to use the first one that I cut, the first fillet that I cut, and I'm going to cut it 4 times. As you can see here, I've cut my fillet 4 times. The 4 of them would be used to complete my 1440 degrees fillet. Now I'm going to fold my fabric the exact same way, place the template, and do the exact same thing that I did for all the other parts. I'm going to cut it exactly the same, and I'm going to cut my fabric 4 times also. So I'm going to cut it 4 times. Please do not forget, if this was 720, you would divide by 8 and you will cut it only 2 times. So as you can see, I've cut my fabric 4 times also. Please, you will do the exact same thing to your lining. You will cut your lining the exact same way. As you can see here, I have cut the exact same shape for my lining. As you can see, I've cut the lining 4 times. And 4. Now I'm going to iron my cloth gum to my fabric. So I'm going to turn to the wrong side of my fabric. Please comment below if you do that too. Now we're going to stick our cloth gum to the fabric. Now most stiffeners and interfacings always have adhesive on one side. Please try to get one that has a gum or an adhesive on one side. Now I'm simply going to iron on. I'm binding both of them together. Please, you want to do this as carefully as possible so that the other side of your fabric does not have any squeeze or have any rumples. So you have to take your time. Make sure you spread the fabric underneath evenly. So now I'm just straightening out the the fabric, securing all the places that I didn't get to when I was ironing from the other side. So I'll do the same thing. I'll do the same thing to all the other sides of my fabric. I'm going to repeat the same process. So when we are done with that, you would place all your circles on top of one another, arranging it so everything matches, and then you can cut at any point in your fillet if your fillet is the same length at every point. As you can see, we're already getting the fullness. I'm going to place my lining, do the exact same thing to my lining. I'm going to place my lining one on top of the other. Now please remember, you cut your lining exactly the same. And then I'm going to simply divide them too. So when you're done with that, it is time to join them together. So we place both sides, front side facing front side, from top to bottom at 1/2 inch. Now please, I use cloth gum here, but if you whatever hardener you want to use, whatever stiffener you want to use, you could use, but I just prefer the finish that cloth gum has. Now when I'm done with that, I would simply repeat the same process for all the other circles. So now it's time for the very last circle. So as you can see, before I'm even done with my lining, you can see how the fillet is dancing, how it has kicked, and the fullness of it. Now I'm going to join my lining the exact same way, and then I'm going to bind them together at the bottom at 1/2 inch. We'll simply just use the lining to face the fabric. When I'm done with that, when you are done with that, you're going to iron, make it lay flat. And when you're done with that, join it to the bodice and you're done. So as you can see, this is what the fillet looks like when it's as a finished product. So I hope you try this for yourself. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Have a lovely day.